Alright, so I wanted to talk about program design, and I wanted to tell you, as I've said before, that I like the Candito training program. But for me personally, some of the issues that I've noticed with it that don't work well for me are the pause reps when it comes to the rowing. Pause reps for rowing does not work. I think there's a lot better replacements for it, and biomechanically and building strength-wise, I think if I was going to do pause rows or some sort of pause rowing movement, I wouldn't really do a pause rowing movement this time. I think I'm going to move on, progress it to just a heavier bent over row, because it seems like I feel like I can row almost every day and not really suffer any consequences. I would actually get stronger. The one thing also is that if I were to maybe replace it or maybe make an adjustment, I would put shrugs in there, because shrugs I think is kind of a little bit better positioned to really work on those traps and upper back muscles when you're trying to set up for the bench. And if you can overload your body with a good heavy shrug, I think that would be a little bit more effective. Or maybe even some moderate weight rack pulls. Now, in a few months ago, I should say, before I did my powerlifting meet, I was getting pretty strong with the bench, and I was up to a point where I can bench press 255 pounds for 6 reps. Now, that's not a lot of weight, but for me it was. And I was repping out 225 for 9 reps, and right now I can just barely get 7 or 8. Well, I guess I'm getting pretty close now. So I'm definitely getting close to where I was before meet, but what I'm noticing is that I respond a lot better to the volume and a little bit lower weight. I think there are times where I need to cycle lower repetitions and higher repetitions, lower repetitions, heavier weight, higher repetitions, lighter weight with more volume. So those are basically the interplay when you look at different kinds of programs. They try to interlace these different things. Johnny Candito's program is really a templated program where it's very, very minimalistic, and I really like it. And there are parts of it that I'm going to always use because they really help me maintain my focus. If you don't have a program to follow, it's really hard to stay focused. I know that on my heavy day, I'm going to do 3 sets of 6. I'm going to try to progress it every single week, so I have that in my mind. And I think that there's a lot of value to having that amount of focus on just a few amount of sets. Now when it comes to programming and deciding kind of what to cut or what to add, if you like to design your own program or if you like to learn from other people's programs, is that understand how you are based on each lift. Understand what your skill level is. And I think each lift kind of has its number. What I've noticed when it comes to the squat, or at least my opinion is that if you're under 200 pounds and you can squat over 400 pounds for reps, I think you're pretty amazing. And I think the things that work for you are going to be different than someone who can someone that can confidently lift 300 pounds for reps, for example. I think everyone has different individual problems when it comes to like knee joints and hip joints and back joints, or back problems when it comes to mobility. Now, for me, for example, just talking about myself and my own issues, because that's the perspective I'll share with you, is that with bench press, I tolerate upper body. I tolerate a lot of upper body volume. I've done it before. I've bench pressed 5 days a week, 70-75% for 3 sets of 6 to 8, and I've done great. I got really strong. I remember that's how I got strong. I know that with deadlift it doesn't work. I'm very proficient at a deadlift. I'm very strong, so I can really push myself on the deadlift, and I don't recover as well, especially after the second week. I start to have too many overuse injuries. The squat is a little different animal by itself because of my poor flexibility that I've been trying to improve upon. Take a look at those biceps. Just wanted to show you guys that. Anyways, got a little sidetracked there. My point is that you want to find the lifts and determine kind of what is it that you are lacking as far as like what your skill level is. Determine your skill level. Are you really proficient at bench press? Are you really proficient at squat? Are you really proficient at deadlift? And what I mean by that is based on your own individual progression, where you're at in your lifting, in your opinion, and then also what you see out there, because that's all you got. I see someone like Johnny Candito's, he's basically near human potential from what I've noticed. I don't see anyone that size that can rep out that much. But then again, my scope is small from my experience as far as what I see on YouTube. But then for normal people, like I'm a normal person, I'm not amazing by any means. The only thing that seems sort of near amazing, not in powerlifting world, just a regular world, is my deadlift. My deadlift is fairly amazing to regular people, and powerlifting is really not much. So it's kind of that reference point, kind of finding out what is possible and determining what's going to actually work for you, and using that as a way to determine, okay, should I use this or should I not? I know I'm going a little not being specific enough, but so let me be specific. If you are really good at squats and you can squat well, I recommend, or I would suggest, that you squat heavier, less frequent. That way you can recover and you can focus on linear progression. right? Or you can focus on keeping the weight the same and really focusing on your technique and just getting really good at a weight, getting more reps with the same weight, for example. If you are proficient with a deadlift, if you're not proficient with a squat, I think you should squat more frequent. That way you can dial in your form and your technique. When it comes to the deadlift, I think it's the same thing. I think it applies to all the lifts. If you are very proficient with the bench press, I think sometimes the upper body don't recover as well because it doesn't. Basically, what I've noticed when you bench press heavy and you bench press hard, it doesn't really wear you out physically as the squat and the deadlift do. So you can tolerate a little bit more upper body volume, but then it's going to be individualized. So anyway, it's just kind of sharing my thoughts. Click like if you haven't already. Take a look at my other videos if you haven't seen these ones yet. And thanks for watching.